We record this because, and Steve and I were talking about this, a lot of what we do is both for you guys in person who are zooming in on our leadership meetups, but also we have quite a few people on our list that want that requirement or that recording, excuse me, so that they can come back to it later. So recording that now. So today we wanted to talk about something that I think a lot of us have a lot of kind of passion on, and that is kind of practice planning and practice templates. So how I want to start this is, so Steve and I are educators. Many of you guys have tons of experience with teaching and coaching kids and adolescents. The most important part of what we do is, in my opinion, aside from the kind of the intangibles that Steve likes to talk about, is how do we scaffold? How do we design practice templates so that they're progressive in nature, and that they build off of last week's practice or the previous practice? So how do we scaffold so that we don't hit kids with the best and the highest level practice right away? How do we build from that? And I think, and Steve, I know you're back with us, I think what a lot of coaches out there struggle with or can struggle with is that scaffolding. It's how do you continue to improve each day, each practice, and you continue to build so that you don't overwhelm kids, you don't shut them down, et cetera, et cetera. Steve, is there anything you want to kind of say about that, or before we jump into some of our practice templates?
No, I just did. Have you shown them the raw template yet?
Not yet.
You want me to put it on the screen now, and I'll make it?
Yeah, I'll share my screen with you, and tell me specifically, is there something you would want?
I was just going to kind of key it in. I was going to share my screen and key it in, and then we could come back and fill in the blanks. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you? There you go.
Okay.
I think you could share now.
Okay. So hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and kind of key this in. This is sort of the template that I've used for a long time that it really works for me. And if you're not sure what you're doing, it's a good place to start.
Is Steve, okay, you're going to type it through. Okay, cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure I had the right screen going.
Yeah, so I always start, and even with the little kids, with the stretch, and the little kids, they don't need to stretch, right? But it does organize them and quiet them up. And I always jump into what I call basis. And this is where I do things like, getting the proper lead off and going back to the bag and practicing your secondaries and your straight steals and your delay steals and walking leads and so forth. And after that, we play catch for a purpose. Okay. And after we play catch for a purpose, we do a throwing drill. Now the throwing drill itself changes, but you start off with one throwing drill, and then of course it'll change the next practice. And by the way, if I could go back to the basis for a second, what I do on practice 1 is different than what I'm going to do on practice 2, and that's different than practice 3. You introduce them to basic concepts, and then you always come back to review and move on to give new stuff. So I cycle back and always add new stuff to the basis. Throwing drills, I always give different throwing drills for each practice. And then what I do is I have what we call drill work by position. And for you older guys, you may want to divide it up into catchers and infield and then outfield. But if you're having younger kids, maybe what you do is you replace catchers with hitting. So you have 4 kids, maybe you get 12 kids on a team, 4 kids are hitting, 4 kids are working on infield fundamentals, 4 kids outfield, and you rotate every 7 minutes. So my stretch is like 5 minutes long, and then my basis is like 8 or 9, maybe 10. Play catch for about 5 minutes, throwing drill like 3 or 4 minutes. This total drill work might be 20 minutes, and each one of these might last 7 minutes, and I rotate.
Hey, Steve, can I interrupt? Or
Sure you
I
can.
did. I did. My apologies. But one of the things that I think as a coach as well, for younger kids, one of the things that I see a lot in my organization is guys want to be perfect, or they want to get their kids to a spot where they think they're perfect in the drill. And one of the things that I learned from you in your youth camps and in high school baseball, it's not about perfection, it's about reps, but it's most importantly about pace. So you would balance what we would want to desire to be with more, hey, let's keep the pace. Hey, it's when you say 7 minutes, it's 7 minutes, and we're bolting, right? I mean, can you speak to that a bit? Because I,
Yeah,
I feel
so
like I feel like coaches battle that idea of like, oh, that wasn't long enough, or that wasn't enough reps.
well, yeah, we all get hooked up in the idea that if we kept doing it a little bit longer, that we're going to get it better, right? We're going to get it better. And my point, or my thing is that the drills are progressive in nature over the course of the season. And the pace of your practice, each individual practice tends to influence how your kids play the game. So progressivity of the drills and the pace of your practice are crucial. And while it's normal to want to get another rep or 2 or 3 or 4 to make this guy get it, it's probably more important to keep the pace of your practice going so you don't lose the pace. Because if you lose the pace for a practice, you know, chances are you'll never get it back. Okay, now if I come back to this thing right here, and let's see if I can do this. After my drill work by position, sorry about this, Tom. I never know how to do this in my okay. Well, the next thing I'm going to do, and I'll try to line it up. There it is team defense. Okay, and this is where I do rundowns, bunt defense, pickoff plays, first and third defenses, double steal scores or fakes. This is where I do that. Sorry about the lack of indenting there.
But you do this. You do this. You don't do all of that, right? You
I
pick
just
one
do
for the practice. Yeah.
One for each practice, and you know you don't need to cover everything before the season starts, right? What I always wanted to do is I wanted us to be our best by about, maybe May 1st. If you started your season practice March 1st, by May 1st, I wanted to have everything in place. And by the last, month of the season, I wanted us to have all of our tools at our disposal. But I never felt I needed to have everything by, if you started practice March 1st and the first game was, like April 1st, I never felt I had to have everything by April 1st. So I do team defense, that's about 15 minutes. And then I do team base running. And this is a different version of base running, which for right now, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail, but it's like first to third, second to home. It's relay reads. It's running out of running out of home plate when you home to first or home to second. And it's some of those more team-based base running things. And then after that, we hit and we do PFP. Now, this is where I have a practice that I have enough kids and enough room to do that. And this is about an hour 45 to 2 hour practice. And I'm never, even for the older kids, I was never one to go much past 2 hours. I just didn't want to. I just thought that the kids lose their focus. That's one kind of practice. There's another kind of practice, where you just hit. And there's another kind of practice where if you're just going to do defense, you would just take this away, the hitting part, and you would have PFP, and your pitchers would have their bullpens here. Okay, so pitchers fielding practice and pitchers throw their bullpens at this time. So that's a template. And from here, everything changes within it. I always stayed to the same categories, but within the categories, the actual drills within the categories changed and evolved and became progressive as the season went on. Tom, does that do okay? Does that set the stage for you?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that's great. We can kind of show them some of the templates that we have in the member dashboard that follow this structure.
Okay.
Guys on the call, yeah, guys on the call, is there anything that you guys have questions about, and you know, why, hey, Steve, why do you do this? Why not this? Or what do you guys do that may be different or similar?
So the other day, guys, I did a podcast with a fella, and he was asking me about all this. And this way to run a practice allowed me to put my kids in a position where they were prepared for almost anything. Okay, assuming that we started March 1st, and we evolved this through the course of the season. They were ready to defend a stealing a home. They were ready to do a wheel play. They were ready to hit their cuts and relays. They were ready to do a rundown properly. They were ready to execute a base running play. They were able to hit the ball to the opposite field. They were able to do a squeeze play. All the stuff that I wanted my kids to be able to do and stop, that was all based on this practice template. And then what we've done now, and Tom will show you in a second, is we've given you the ability to use pre-made templates at different levels. And we've also given you, the experience coach, the ability to follow this template, but bring in your own drills from our website and build your own practice, which is pretty cool.
So, one of the things that I want to, this is what I've learned in the classroom as a teacher, and Steve, you can weigh in too, because I know you've gone through this as well. One of the things that I teach young level freshmen, is I have to be consistent with a routine every class period. It's the same. We start the class with, like a 5-minute warm up. There's like 5 things we do. We check in. We get out an academic planner. We walk them through all of these things in 5 minutes, right? And the kids by this time of the year, oh, Mr. Z, I got it. They are programmed to do this. They know exactly. They start making fun of the system. But you know what? If I altered that like 1 minute, they freak out. And so my point here of bringing this up is to be consistent, to make sure that you have a consistent practice template throughout, so that kids buy into that structure and buy into that routine. Now, the neuroscience, I could get into this a lot more, but the neuroscience is going to suggest that when you establish a routine and you establish a habit, kids' amygdalas and their young developing brains aren't fluctuating as quick or as fast, and they're able to process a lot better when there's habit and there's structure and routine over and over again. So when Steve says this is the template structure, we ran that every single day. And kids, yeah, bellyache, hey, it's the same, it never changes, but that's by design. It's to lower the emotional risk and the emotional obstacles so that they can start to expect what is coming next. And then their growth grows significantly from there. Does that make sense to you guys? So like, I can see the argument, hey, let's change it up. Let's completely do a scrimmage or what have you. And that's okay once in a while, but to keep those same structures in place is so important for development. Whether you're looking at start baseball, right? T-ball age, 13U, or even high school ball, like Steve's talking about. All right. Anybody want to share kind of their thoughts or their, what do they do? Similar or different?
I've been applying this kind of template the last few practices, and I've already seen the kids taking to it, like what you was just saying, and an improvement too, just in the skill set. So I want to appreciate let you know I appreciate you guys sharing all this. So I mean, it's working for us so far.
Oh, good.
Great.
Good deal.
That's great to hear. Thank you.
And to piggyback on that, I'll say that through that structured practice, when you show up and the boys start realizing that, there's a methodology to your practices. When they show up, they start taking accountability, right? They start getting the things out that we need, the armbands, because they know we're going to be hitting the armbands
Right.
before we do our catch play routine. My catch play routine, we start 30 feet, we go to 45, 60, 75, 90. And they're holding each other accountable. Hey, it's time to move back. No, we're doing this
Right.
part in our throwing sequence. And next thing you know, you're able to step back as a coach because they're holding each other accountable and they're taking care of what needs to be done. And so again, I think that's another element that plays into having that structure.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, it's key. I think having the kids have that battle rhythm where they know what's coming. You kind of put that, here's our month's calendar. They know what's coming up on Tuesdays. Right now, we're Tuesdays and Mondays. For us, I'm doing right now select softball. So we got bumped from Sundays to Thursdays. So we got Mondays and Thursdays. So they know when they get there, we laid out the whole month and they know what's coming on that day. And then we give them the whole month calendar. And then they've kind of seen over the last 2 weeks, hey, this is day by day for this week. And now they know. We did it kind of written and kind of, penciled it in at the last minute last fall. And it was kind of all over the place. The drills were great, but they didn't really have that read ahead. This year, we're getting it out to them so they can kind of see how this season is going to progress, whether they understand that or not. What they do understand is when I get to practice this Monday coming up, they know exactly what's going, because their responsibility, who's got equipment set up. Pitchers have responsibilities, infielders have responsibilities, outfielders have responsibility. So they know automatically this is what goes where, and they get right into that battle rhythmic repetition.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah, I like that, Dave. You take the emotion out of it. Not to say that you shouldn't have emotion, but you take the uncertainty out of things, and you can rely on the process, right? So it builds that rhythm, and I think it has some healthy gains.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me share with you all just a couple of things here that most of you guys already have access to, that Steve was talking about earlier. So in our member dashboard under coach and family, click on practice templates. What we have and have designed is kind of just weekly practice templates that you guys have access to if you're a pro member. So here we've got by week 1, week 2, week 3 on the left hand side. But just like Steve had said, right, and he's personally designed these practice templates to fit that age group. So here's the start stretches. He's got the time frame, 0 to 15 minutes for base running, and then we've got video drills that are progressive in nature that we actually would use in youth camp. We go to throwing and receiving, just like he said earlier, another receiving drill, and then we go into drill work, and we've got several different types of drills that you guys could access to. So that's just one example of youth. We've got them for kind of the general 9 to 11, 12U, and then advanced would be kind of some of the 13U and beyond. Steve spoke about hitting practice only template. We've got that. We've got a practice builder. But what I wanted to kind of show you guys is, and Steve, maybe we can end this, because I think this is just as good as your structure, and it's the Start Baseball Right. So for kind of an alternative T-ball or youth baseball, but I would apply this to lots of different age groups, is this template. Steve, do you want to kind of talk about this? The three parts of this, kind of
Yeah.
a simpler version of this.
So it's funny. I was trying to come up with a better introduction to the game for little kids, and I think it kind of goes like this. We stretch to quiet them up, and then we do bases, and then we after bases we did our throwing drills, and after we did our throwing drills, we they're too little, the little ones, to have a drill designed for like 4-year-olds. So it was really ready, break, throw and stuff. And then I broke them up into drill work where one group hit, one group did infield, one group did outfield, and we rotated them. And then after that, we did a 4-on-4 scrimmage, and we counted outs, not runs. And everybody was hustling on and off the field. We played like 2 innings, 3 innings, something like that. Didn't take long because the third strike, you had to, if you third strike, the coach rolled the ball out and we played it as though you hit it, So, but we only had 4 infielders, and if we had 5 kids on a team, we had a pitcher. So it was like 4 versus 4. And then after that, we did a snidbit, and a snidbit was the highlight. So I just broke the game up into different parts. Like, here's one part, you got guys at home plate running the first base, and you got fielders at second base. The fielders charge the ball, the runners run through the bag, just like we did on our base running drill, and we give points, right? We keep score. If there's an out, if the guy runs through the bag, and there's ways to get points. And then after everybody fields, we switch. We go to the bottom of the first, and the team that was running goes to the field, and the other team comes to run. We do another one where we're running, and we have guys on the pitcher's mound, and we cover first. Another one we did was guys on second and a base hit to the outfield. We had a coach catcher and a coach third baseman, and the kids would throw the ball through the cut man, and we'd have bang bang plays at the plate. Another one, we'd circle up and play pig games. If you touch the ball, you get a point. If you catch it, you get 2 points. And my point is we broke the game down into snidbits, and we allowed them to keep score, and they were learning the game, but having fun learning the game as they competed. And that was really, really good. And then the guy asked me, he says, well, I got 9-year-olds. I said, well, hey, if you play in a league, that's great, but you can just follow this for your practice. So now our Start Baseball Right program, which, that experience was the experience for 4- and 5-year-olds, it became a practice for kids that are 8 and 9. So it really turned out to be, kind of multifaceted.
Yeah. All right. So guys, that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys, just kind of some structural things. Thanks, Steve, for presenting on that. We've got about 5 minutes left. What questions do you guys have, or comments do you have for Steve and I and the group at large?
I've got one for you guys. So how would your practice template change for doing indoor practice work? What would you do differently?
It's a great question.
Honestly, the rough template is pretty much the same. What's different is, of course, that if you don't have a batting cage, maybe you won't hit. And if you're doing outfield work, you'll limit your outfielders to no fly balls. But certainly your overheads and your footwork and all that good stuff you can do. You can do a full-fledged infield if you want to. I did all my cuts and relays inside a gym. What I like to do is shorten the bases for that. And I just have the guys move to right spots, and then I no ball. Then I put a ball in and they have to react to the ball, but it's all sharp, like imagine on a basketball court. So I don't have to holler and they don't have to run a whole lot. It's just about getting to a spot, move in the right direction, so to speak. But yeah, no, the template stays the same
Yes.
inside. And by the way, guys, I just want to tell you, a lot of guys don't think gym practices are any good. Me, gym practices are where it's at. If you can't take advantage of a gym practice, you're just finding an excuse not to coach. Gym practice is awesome. So if you can get a gym, use a gym. And the reason why too is ground balls, a lot easier to learn how to field a ground ball in a gym than it is out on a field that has grass, right? The grass is uneven and you don't get the good bounces, and little kids, you can't throw it that hard anyway. So the gym is the best place. It's the truest spot to get the good hop.
And Steve, let me add, as someone who also favored when you had gym practices over outdoor practice, especially when it's cold. So a gym practice, you shrink everything. It's a controlled environment. It's kind of like when football teams go through walkthroughs, right? You can walk through things and then add the ball in at the end. It's super like huge gains. Second thing too is you can listen and hear so much better and instruct and teach, in my opinion, without the environmental elements. There's just a little bit crisper of a focus with young kids all the way to older kids when you're indoors and you're 10 feet away versus across the field, and you got wind and you got birds and you got all this other stuff going on. It's controlled, it's efficient. It's kind of like a really good walkthrough in football.
Yeah. I know one of our nights we have DBAT down here in San Antonio, and it just, we lost one of our, select ball. You're at the mercy of the fields and things changed and all that stuff. So DBAT came open, so it's almost like 3 tunnels. So we got creative on, so you're doing a lot of rolling, but that's okay because a lot of our girls, I got half the crew have been playing select for a while, so they have that aptitude. The other half are girls that are coming out of rec, so you have to do a lot of rolling anyways, even on a field. So what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? You just modify, so you're not getting into a lot of long throws, but a lot of our drills are still the same. A lot of our stuff, we just go from hard balls to incrediballs. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're hitting into the nets, they can still hit live balls. But a lot of our work now is just incrediball stuff. Unless they're actually doing where they are doing short range throwing, and then we'll use a real ball so they get the feel.
All right.
Hey guys, don't hesitate if you have questions or something. I know how it is to get in a group and sometimes you don't want to ask or whatever, but don't ever hesitate to text us or call us, and we'll always be happy to help. That's what we enjoy doing. So don't hesitate to do that.
Hey guys, our next meetup is on the 15th. So I hope you guys pass this on. I hope you guys are jumping on board with us in a couple Tuesdays. So if your guys are get hit by this snowstorm in the Midwest US, good luck. Anthony, enjoy your weather in Puerto Rico. I'm really envious of you right now. So guys, thanks for jumping on with us. And like Steve said, let us know how we can help. We'll jump for you guys. So,
hey, thanks guys. Great seeing you all. See you now.
Man. Good to meet you.
Guys, take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.